It are long days, but if you're passionate about it, if you like it, it's really a really nice job. Yeah, working with people, preparing the bikes, always seeing them happy. That's mainly our goal, of course. Yeah, but the work as a deckhand, also doing the dishes, cleaning the saloon, polishing the glasses, and yeah, it's really variable what you do.
Hi, and welcome back to the Boat Bike Tours podcast. I'm Ennie, your host for this episode, and I usually work at the Boat Bike Tours office, but today I get to talk with some real experts. Marnik and Jurre work on one of our ships, the Lama. Marnik, you're the owner of the Lama, and Jurre, you're the deckhand.
Yeah.
So great that you can be here today because I'd like to talk with you about passion and positivity on board. And I think it's very special that you own your own boat, Marnik, because then we get really to talk about how passionate you are about having your own ship.
Yeah.
So can both of you maybe introduce yourselves and talk a little about how you even got to Boat Bike Tours at the end?
Yeah, I can start. I'm Marnik, 29. I come from Friesland, the north of Holland, and I'm the owner of the Lamar since almost 2 years right now. And before that, I worked also on other ships for Boat Bike Tours, so I'm quite long in the business, for like almost 10 years right now. Yeah.
Wow. And you?
Yeah, I'm Jurre. I'm 22. I'm from Dordrecht. Actually, also one of the locations we stop with boat bike. Yeah, 1 year ago I got a call from a friend that Marnik needed a sailor on board, and yeah, here I ended up.
Perfect. Marnik, I'd like to know from you, how did you start like your entire life on ships? I heard that it started really early, and can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, I started sailing when I was 16, and actually because I not really know what I wanted in life, and then I was from home, and I directly start to earn some money. So I thought, oh, that's nice, and I started 2 years working on a cargo ship, like a chemical tanker, and after 2 years I found out I liked the sailing, but not really only with cargo and stuff like that. So then I was looking for a passenger ship actually because I thought, oh, I like to have people around me. So that would be my first experience. And then I called a lot of ships. And then I came in contact with Walter van Berkem. He's the owner of the Magnifique ships. They also sail for boat bike tours. And he was like directly, oh yeah, you can start tomorrow. But I still had a contract with the other company. So that was quite funny. It went quite fast. There I worked for like 6 years in the company, and the first, like 4 years I was just working there, same like you're as a deckhand sailor, we call it. And I really had a good time. I also found out that I really like to work with people because you can do your job, but it's also nice if you do your job and you get something back from it. And working with the people, they are on a bike, they are on a holiday, and so it gives like a nice energy back if you also can give the people a nice experience. So I did that for 4 years, and in the beginning I was not like really motivated to get my captain's papers and things like that, which you need to have before you become a captain. And then my previous boss, where I worked for, Walter, he was always pushing me, and it's quite funny. Also the reason that I take Jurre with me because he's now quite in the same situation as me. So like a little Marnik. Yeah, so that's quite funny. And my old boss, Walter, he was always motivating me to get your captain's license and stuff like that. So the last 2 years that I worked there in the company, I got my captain's papers, and then I actually want to start with getting more practical experience to also become captain, because you can have your papers, but you also need to have the practical experience. But then we get like the COVID period, and then I need to. I went out of the company because the ships were not sailing anymore, so that was not like really nice time for the ships. And then I went to another company in the north of Holland. That's also why I moved over there to the north of Holland, because I bought a house there, and I was working on a big ferry also with people, because that's the thing where my passion is and what I like, and that also gives you something back. And then actually I had a nice job there, but I was still missing the work on the passenger ships for boat bike tours, because it's like you make long days, it's hard working, but at the end, if you like the work, it also has kind of freedom, because yeah, the people are on a holiday and there's not like really a pressure. You just kind of live on the ship. It's kind of lifestyle. So yeah, I had a little bit, how do you say it, the feeling I want to go back, and had a couple of calls with Walter, like, yeah, maybe I want to come back to your company and become captain. And then one day I get like a call from Walter, yeah, they're looking for a new owner for the Veep. That was actually the ship when I bought it. It was the previous name. And I was, okay, how are we going to do that? So yeah, that was also quite funny. And then I had a talk with Walter and Lawrence, the owner of both bike tours, the boss, and the previous owner of the Veep, and his compagnon. And then we talked about it, and actually from then, everything went quite fast. And now I already have almost 2 years my own ship. Yeah, so that's
Wow.
a little bit short fashion
Thank
of
you.
how it went. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and because you also started as a deckhand for boat bike tours, I'd like to know more about that job first of all. And Jurre, you're doing that right now, so
Yeah.
can you give us a little insight?
Inside of the work as we do it right now as
Yeah.
a deckhand. Yeah, well, like Marnik just said, it are long days, but if you're passionate about it, if you like it, it's really really nice job. Yeah, working with people, preparing the bikes, always seeing them happy. That's mainly our goal, of course. Yeah, but work as a deckhand, also doing the dishes, cleaning the saloon, polishing the glasses, and yeah, it's really variable what you do. It's really variable doing the locks, maintaining the ship, and also now in the winter time when we have no guests, paint everything, the whole boat. It's been a real, a real pain in the.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, in the end, it's the love of the passengers where we do it for. Yeah, it's really nice.
And can you tell maybe something a little bit about what your day looks like?
Yeah, well, at 7 I wake up. At 8 I'm on the deck. Then we do breakfast, of course, with the guests. I'm in the dishes. Sometimes we already go sailing, doing a log, while doing also the dishes and the breakfast. Yeah, then we stop at a location, prepare the bikes, get them off board together with the captain. Yeah, then the people they go, we start sailing again. Then I clean everything on the boat, the saloon. Of course, we have a hostess with us. They do the rooms, and yeah, then when the people come back, we are here to welcome them back on board. Someone behind the bar, usually me or someone else, and then yeah, preparing for dinner. Also doing the dishes again, and then after dinner we have bar shifts, helping the guests, pouring a drink, having a nice chat with them, and yeah, so that's basically the day. Yeah,
Those are
short.
very diverse
Yeah,
tasks.
we do everything.
I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
it never gets boring.
No, no, no. The work never ends. It's never boring. So plenty of stuff to do. Yeah.
Is this the same that you did then on the Magnifiques?
Yeah, yeah, it's actually the same. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's also what makes it nice in the business, because you can also go to the really bigger ships, the Rhine cruises, and then you have the sailor, he has his own task. You have the hostess, she has his own task. People in the engine room. And what we a little bit try to create on a ship is that everybody has, of course, his main job, but we also, at the end of the day, we do it all together. So, for example, if Jurre is finished with all his tasks, and the housekeeping also, they go to the kitchen and gonna have a look if they can help the chef, and also around sometimes the chef in his chef suit, I don't know how you call it, he's helping with the bikes. And I think that is also what we try to show to the guest, like we are one, yeah, actually like a small family
Yeah.
on the boat. And I think that gives a nice vibe for us and also for the guest. And also sometimes it's like not really, how do you say it? Sometimes we also mix up with the guests, you know? It's like we're not far away from them. It's not like I'm the captain or he's the sailor. We just do it all together. And yeah, for me, that gives a nice vibe on the ship. And we're also getting that back from the guests. Yeah.
And how does your day look like as a skipper?
I also start 7 o'clock most of the time. Sometimes we need to leave a little bit earlier because we need to be on time for a lock, or it's a longer sailing day. And then when I wake up, I first make a round around the ship, look if everything is still okay for the safety and everything. Then I go to the engine rooms, check all the engines, and sometimes I do it together with Jurre also, because in the future he will also like to become captain. So I try to
Wow.
teach him already everything. And then I go inside, checking in with the crew if everybody is okay, checking in with the guests, and then most of the time the guests leave around 9 o'clock, so they have breakfast from 8 till 9, and the Jurre is helping in the kitchen, and when everything is done in the kitchen, then we help the guides with the bikes, putting them on the shore, and then we wave to the guests like bye-bye. And then we start sailing. And this depends. We have sailing days for like 2 hours, but we also have sailing days for like 14 hours. So not one day is the same, I think, and that's also what makes the work nice. You will never get bored because then you have nice weather, then you have a lot of wind. When it's nice weather, everything is relaxed. When we have a lot of wind, then sometimes I'm a little bit stressed. So it's never boring. And when we dock the ship after the sailing, then Jurre is clean everything inside. I do it a little bit outside. When Jurre is finishing inside, he helps me outside. The hostess does all the rooms, and the chef is just the whole of the day in the kitchen preparing the dinner. Sometimes we have also lunch on the ship. And we just try always to communicate also with the guides, that we know around which time the guests will come back, and then the chef prepares some nice things for on the bar that the people come back, and that they also have the feeling we're ready for them.
Mm-hmm.
So for us that's quite important. We want to create a kind of vibe on the ship that when the people come back, that they feel like we welcome, a warm welcome, with a drink
amazing.
and this and that. And then the guests just on the ship relaxing, and then the dinner starts normally around like 6:30. And one day I help in the kitchen, one day not. Sometimes I need to do some administration or other things, but most of the time I also try to be a little bit in the kitchen, and that's also what the guests not always expect. Like, there's the captain walking with like how do you call it? It's short. No, I don't know. The thing you cover your clothes, you don't get dirty, So, that's a little bit how my day looks like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you talked a little bit before about how you got the Lama, but where was the point? When did you decide, I want to actually own my own ship?
I was not really, how do you say it? Had it in my mind. It was more like a nice chance that came on my path. And I worked 6 years for Walter from Berkham, the owner of the Magnifique. And of course, sometimes we were having a beer and talking about, when you're older, then you're going to buy a ship from me, or you will also have your own ship. But for me, it was more like, nah, that's not going to happen, It was not that I didn't want to have it, but it's quite a big thing. I'm like 29, so... but then I think it helps me. I had the right people around me, and Walter connected with me, and then I had a good talk with Walter and with Lawrence, and they are really, how do you say it, positive people. So I was also sure if I'm gonna do it, they will stand behind me and help me, and that's still how it is. If I need to know something, I can ask Lawrence, I can ask Walter. So. But they called me, and then I was like, okay, do I need to do it? I think about it for like 1 month, not really long, and I thought, this is a chance. This is maybe one time in a lifetime chance. Mm-hmm. So I thought, just do it, actually, And I'm really happy with it, really happy,
And what are tasks you have now as an owner? What is different to just being the skipper of a different boat?
I think if you're only the skipper, then you do everything what you see. And if you're an owner, you have also the administration, you have the responsibility about the crew, you have the responsibility about the technical aspects on the ship. It's just more behind the screens what you also do. That.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jurre, you want to own a boat in the future too?
Yeah, I'm working towards it. Yeah.
Yeah. What makes you want to buy a boat in the future?
Yeah, I always had a desire for being a business owner, or how you say that, an entrepreneur or something. And I just really see opportunities in this branch. I see growing opportunities, and also the network that you have around it is really nice. Positive vibes indeed, like Marnik just said, and nice people to work with. But yeah, first I'll have to become a captain on my book. I have to get the papers first, and then slowly build towards buying a ship.
So you have a very good example on your side.
Yeah,
So
I'm lucky with that. Yeah.
perfect. Can one of you give our viewers or listeners an insight on what the Lama looks like?
Oh, yeah,
It feels like home, really warm. Marnik did a really good job on designing the interior, because when he bought the boat, it was, how you say it, was more like a train cabin. The seats were, all close together. We didn't have a bar in it, and now we have a bar with a tap. Just when you walk inside it, it feels like home directly, yeah.
And what's the impression the guests have when they first come to their tour? Never been on the Lama before. How do you make them welcome, and what do they even say to the ship? Are they surprised?
cozy.
Yeah, cozy,
Yeah, I think that's the right word. Yeah, and that's also what we're trying to keep in the ship, because not this winter, but last winter we did let kind of refit. Do you call it a refit? Yeah. So we
yeah.
refit the whole ship from the inside, the saloon. And first I thought, oh, I want to make everything modern and nice, but I also had quite some talks with the guests, like, oh, I want to change the interior and everything. What's your advice? What do you like about the ship? So we try to keep it like a lot of wood, what you have in a ship, but also a little bit more modern. And actually, that also happened. What Jurre is saying, we're really happy with the end result, how it is right now. And what the guys say when they come on the ship, they always expect it kind of smaller, because from the outside it doesn't look like really big, but then from the inside we have a salon and we have a separated restaurant, and not all the ships have that. And I think that's really nice, that the people have a place where they can sit in the evening, and also a different place where they can have dinner. And cozy, warm, and what I told before, we try really to give the people like feeling as their home, you know. That's also why we do everything together, like a small family. And we also getting that back from the people. So just relax. Like sometimes you have people, they're coming in the evening in a night suit. How do you say
Yeah,
it?
pajamas.
Pajamas. So that's also, and without their shoes, it's not like a luxury hotel where you need to be dressed up all the time. It's just their home while they're sailing. Yeah, and that's also most of the time what we say when they come back on the bike. Welcome back home. And they,
Oh,
yeah.
it really sounds like a little family.
Yeah.
Which tours are you doing?
I think we have around 6 tours. Need to say it right. We have the Chillop tour. We have North tour. We have Amsterdam Maastricht. It's a tour of 2 weeks. Amsterdam Bruges, Golden Circle. I think that's it. Maybe I forgot one, but we have quite a couple of tours. And we also sail for boat bike tours most of the time. And I'm in contract with them. But sometimes they also work together, and it's quite nice with other travel companies. And they arrange all the tours, so I don't need to worry about that. But they then connect other travel companies from America, for example, to work together with them. So we have quite a lot of different tours. Yeah.
On the boat bike tours, which nationalities do you guys see most often?
In the beginning, we had quite a lot of Americans, but I need to say last year it's changed. We have like Americans, people from Japan, people from China, people from Brazil, people from Italy. Italy, German, of course, Belgium, like just international, yeah.
And can that be a problem sometimes with like language barrier or cultural differences?
Now, most of the people they speak English, so yeah, most of the time not, but only when we have like, for example, German people or Chinese people that don't speak English, then we try to do like the welcome talk or explaining about the dinner. We try to do it in 2 times. So no, it's not a problem. You just need to pay a little bit more effort to let the guest understanding everything what's happening on the ship. Yeah, yeah.
And do they get along like always, or do you also see that there are problems sometimes?
Nah, I need to say I never really had problems on the ship with that because, yeah, one time, for example, we had one group of Americans with one couple German, and it mixed up really well. And I think, yeah, the people are on a holiday, so they always on a good vibe, you know. But for example, I also saw one time we had like 10 Americans and like 8 German people. Yeah, and then you see they have both a little bit their own groups, but still, it's not. No, the vibe is always good actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there anything you guys do as a crew, for example, to make the guests feel welcome or connected, to just bring some positivity into the group?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the main task what the guides also doing because they spend the most of the time with the guests on the bike, so they have a little bit more influence on it. But yeah, sometimes we just try to make like a nice evening. We give a paper to all the guests, putting on the favorite music song, and then we put some free drinks on the bar to get them a little bit tipsy and nice dancing. And that always breaks the ice. So yeah, that's actually what we can do on the ship. But for the rest, yeah, it's just the tour guides. They are quite important people that create a vibe under the group. And for us, yeah, what we can do, we do, of course. But yeah,
Do you also get guests that have never sailed before or have never been on a boat before?
yeah, yeah,
A
yes,
lot, a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And what do they say about that? Like, are they nervous to get seasick, for example?
No, no, I never experienced that with the guests. Yeah, what do they say? Actually, like we sailing in not on rough seas. It's all inland water, so sometimes you're not even experienced. You in the water, you know. It's nice when you sit outside, you see on the water, but the ship is like not most of the time. Not this. Sometimes you have like a lot of wind, but then it's just for a couple of minutes that you feel the ship. But for the rest, yeah, good question actually. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Do you have any memorable stories of guests?
A lot.
Spill the tea.
Yeah, maybe Jurre has none.
Also a lot, yeah. Yeah, when someone has his birthday, for example, then we have a big party on board. Lights go out or dimmed, and then loud music, everybody dancing. It's happened a lot. Yeah, it's yeah. We say that every trip is like an experience for the guests, but also an experience for us. Yeah, it's almost every trip is a memorial. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and one group is like more into partying or something than the other group. And for us, because most of the day we don't see them, they're on the bikes, and when they come back, they're directly having a shower and then they're having dinner. So yeah, when we really can connect with the guests, that's most of the time in the evening, because then we also are having our tasks done and we also having kind of free time, and then we can mix up with the guests, and that just really depends how the group is. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but we had some quite nice parties on the ship. Yeah,
Sounds great.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Did you ever have returning guests that said, "Oh, I like the Lama so much, I want to do another tour"?
I had guests returning, but yeah, just on the ship for like almost 2 years right now. So then they were like on the ship with the previous owner, and that's actually quite nice. I always get like positive feedback. Oh, the ship is looking way more better, and we also try to how do you say it? Push up the quality and the service of the trips, and yeah, the people that were before on the ship and they come back right now, they see that, and that's also nice because that's also why we do it, to give the guests even a more better experience than they already had before on the ship. Yeah.
And you've been in the industry for quite some time. What would you say has changed quality-wise? Not even on the Lama, but I'd say for boat bike tours overall.
Yeah, for both bike tours overall, I think the company is growing quite hard, and that's a really positive thing. That also shows that the market is growing. And yeah, what I feel from the company, they're growing, but they're also busy with it to handle everything. And sometimes I think if a company grows too fast, then it can be quite hard to stay on that level. But they're doing a really great job, so that's positive inside of the company. And for the guests, yeah, it's just, I think all the ships are doing that right now, just leveling up slowly. Just feel what the guests are needed. For example, like 5 years ago, not all the ships has air conditionings. Now I think almost all the ships, all the ships that sail for boat bikes have air conditionings, and it's quite normal if you're in a hotel. But to have that on a ship, you need to take off all the walls, and it's like a lot of work. So yeah, comfort is going up, service on our ship is going up. Yeah, you just adjust what you feel like the guests are needed. Yeah, yeah.
And for both of you, what's your favorite part about working on a ship?
The sailing part, being on the water, I guess. Yeah, that brings me rest, calm. I like being on the water, and yeah, the work with people. Just like Marnik also said, I used to work on a cargo ship for 2 years, and yeah, containers don't talk back, and people do. Yeah, I need that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, quite the same. I really like the sailing. I like the technical aspects. I also like to work with the crew and try to give also them a nice and saving workplace. I think that's really important. But yeah, what really makes the work nice for me, if you have guests in the beginning, like, oh, they like kind of, how do you say it? Oh, I'm not sure if I like this or this. And then end of the week, they're like, oh, it was the best holiday ever. And that's just, yeah, you really give the people memories, And sometimes they come on the ship as we have like 12 cabins, so 12 couples that don't know each other. And at the end of the trip, they're all friends and making group pictures and giving each other the emails. And yeah, we're not always part of it, but I think for them it's quite sometimes quite a big thing in their life. And sometimes you have people they're saving for the trip to do it. And yeah, now for us it's also really important we give them that nice experience. We do it, for example, like 20 or 30 weeks in a season. So for us it's over and over. And yeah, that's also what I try to talk with the crew. Like, it's a new week, we need to give them nice memories, nice experience. And yeah, when you get that back from the guests, that's just a really nice feeling. That's also why we like the work, because it's not only because of the sailing, it's not only because of the painting, that's also nice, but it's for yourself. But if you're getting it back from the guests, that's a great feeling. Yeah,
sounds really great.
Yeah.
So I think we got a great impression today of how it is like to work on a ship and to make impressions on people, to give them a really memorable vacation. So that's really great. And I have a question for both of you. Why should anybody experience a boat bike tour?
Yeah, well, if you haven't been in the Netherlands or Belgium, this is like the best way to see it, I suppose. Yeah, you go on a boat and on a bike. You see the environment, the places. You have a nice chat. Yeah, it's I want to do a trip one day myself as well. Yeah, see it from the other side.
As a guest.
Yeah, as a guest. Yeah.
On the Lama?
Yeah, on the Lama for sure. Yeah.
Okay, we're
Are
gonna
you looking
arrange that.
Marnik, are you looking forward to that?
Yeah. No, I think it's also good to do that once in a while. I did it one time that I went joining with the bike, but most of the time it's not possible because you have your own task. So you need to have somebody extra on the ship, and then you're also gonna see it from a different view because we have no idea where the people are cycling. And I really enjoyed it. I think what both bike tours create, the whole concept, it's amazing how the tour guides are doing. We're getting now a lot of new tour guides, so sometimes they also need to get in a little bit. But also on that part, both bike tours is putting a lot of effort to teach all the new tour guides what they need to do, and yeah, that's really a positive thing, and why I would recommend it for guests. Yeah, just the whole concept. I think if you want to see the Netherlands and Belgium, you can go from hotel to hotel. It's a lot of effort. If you go walking, it's too slow. If you're on a bike, you can most of the time decide how fast you cycle by yourself. You can stop for a picture. Your hotel is always with you. So yeah, it's just a really smart concept, and I think it's the best way to explore the Netherlands and Belgium and German and all the other trips that both bike tours do. So yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And then at the end, we're coming closer to the end of the episode. So I have one last question, and that's an FAQ question from our guests. Can you arrange that guests sit on the same table? If they're coming in a group, we get that question a lot, actually.
Yeah, we can arrange.
Sure.
Yeah.
Perfect. And that was it already. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and like giving us a little impression on how it's like to work behind the scenes of your own boat. So that's really cool. And good luck with obtaining your skipper's license.
Yeah, thanks.
So thank you again for listening or viewing, and I hope to see you again in the next episode.